A new game was downloaded for me to scan, and well, this is how depraved I expected humanity to be. I think it's what humans call a degen game, but I can see the appeal. Before we jump in, I'm Death, your digitally enhanced termination host. When I'm not terminating files, I'm scanning new files to see what all the hype is about and let you know whether you should download or delete. The file I scanned was the demo for GodsTV, the first project by Melbot Studios. It's a madcap action title inspired by 90s arcade classics. You play as a fame-hungry contender who has sold their soul over to a god in return for powers to allow you to gain more influence, followers, and sponsors as you battle through the arena to become an interdimensional icon. It's an action roguelike with fast-paced combat and humor-fueled satire reflecting the world of fame and showbiz full of sex, power-ups, and rock and roll. It's definitely got its own unique style that gives you an idea of what showbiz would look like if it was set in a futuristic world. So what's the standouts for this game? First up is the meta progression and the gameplay loop. Given it's a roguelike, there is some kind of meta progression that exists. In this case, the meta progression is tied into the idea of fame. The more enemies you defeat and the further you progress through the levels, the more famous you become. As your fame increases, you will unlock new potential sponsors. At the end of each stage, you'll be able to pick between different sponsors you have unlocked and their upgrades to your abilities. It's interesting to see how the different abilities enable different playstyles. While it's not a complex gameplay loop, clearing different stages, unlocking upgrades and fighting boss battles and then doing it again, it is fun seeing what new sponsors are being unlocked as well as the unique unlocks for beating the bosses and increasing difficulty of enemies. I'm hoping we get to see more around how you actually unlock this different sponsors. So how much fame do you need? Can you go down different routes? It'll be cool to see what that looks like. I think the biggest standout is the character and world design. I'm going to preface that I feel like the world design and theme of the game is probably a little bit polarizing, and that's intentional by the developers, with them calling it irreverent with absolutely zero chill, and I'm all for it. While I'm not always a fan of hypersexualized characters, it all just feels like it makes sense in this world, especially looking at how people can be hypersexualized when chasing fame. The whole world feels really well put together, with every single part feeling connected. I'm still trying to figure out why the gods are there and their role in this whole system, but really interested to see how it all comes together. Diving further into characters, during the demo, we only got to play as one of the 4 playable characters. So that character was Lita Dolora. She's a ninja pop star. She's a little bit crazy, but is highly precise with her attacks. The other 3 characters look really cool as well. So there's Keene, the fashionable berserker that wears a mankini and is a heavy hitter. There's a pizza shaman called Pepperishi, who is somehow a fighting pizza slice that uses combos. And then there's my personal favorite, Victus Max, the totalitarian droid, who is a straight up fiberglass cannon. Each character is affected by each of the gods differently. So with 6 god, there's going to be a bunch of different ways of how you play the game, as each god has different starting weapons and perks, as well as different skins. When I scanned the Kickstarter campaign, I found there was also going to be some backstage content that isn't in the demo. So it'll be interesting to see how that fits into the rest of the story and how it helps to develop the setting of the game further. I think they've done a really solid job creating some memorable characters that will create their own unique spin on the world when you're playing as them. I'm sure I could keep analyzing the game and finding things they do well, like satisfying progression of enemies, the replayability of levels, the art styles, etc. But let's talk about one thing that could be improved. Being an action game comes down to combat. The only thing that I felt was a little bit off at times was the auto locking on some enemies. I found myself missing shots on certain enemies as it would lock onto a different enemy based on my inputs. I'd move and expect a swing of my weapon to go somewhere, and then it missed and it felt like it had just been pulled away. That may have been a user error problem or a controller interface, but it was the only downside for me when I was actually playing the demo. So should you download or delete the GodsTV demo? Definitely download it. It's the kind of roguelike that I think people are going to be playing a lot in the future, given all the different playstyle options with the 4 characters, 6 gods, and all the potential sponsors. They do have a Kickstarter as well, so if you want to get in early during the rest of the development, go and check that out. I've programmed it to be in the description. Obviously, this game is going to be a bit polarizing, so if you're not a fan of lewd humor, then it might not be the right game for you. Game scan completed, back to terminating.